Alright. Hello everybody, I'm Peter the Power Dragon. I know it's been a little while since we've been on my channel. Real life has been a bit busy, but we're finally back, and oh boy, do I have a lovely little replay to share with you today. We're on the Wastes today, a unique map made by the Duke, and must I say, quite the pretty one, set out in the Chaos Wastes. And we have quite the interesting scrap between the High Elves, played by yours truly, PD the Power Dragon, and the Cult of Pleasure, played by the Duke. Unfortunately, guest appearances like the ever-famous Pajar have not been present for today. But let's get underway and take a look at the armies. So, to start off with the High Elves, I've gone for a pretty balanced build overall. I've got some Shield and Lothran Seaguard, 3 Warriors, White Lions of Crace, 2 regular Archers, and 2 Hawkeyes, so that way I can punch through some shields with these guys, and do quite the hefty amount of AP, might I add. Here, some Silverhelm Lancers. These guys are going to be pretty useful. High Elf Cavalry is some of the most effective, and some Illyrian Reavers. Perhaps one of the most underrated things in the entirety of Warhammer 2, Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. These guys are super accurate, super useful, super great. Some Illyrian Reaver Archers, just for a bit of skirmishing. And flying overhead, a Prince on a Sun Dragon, with some of his more unique buffs, like the Blade of Pel Coradus and Deadly Onslaught. Combine that with the Missile Parry Shield and Stand Your Ground. His stat line can actually get a lot more nutty than this, and this is already a brutal stat line. He's a super good beater lord, and he clocks in at only around 2,000 gold, so you can really start to see the value in putting him on a dragon. Over at the Duke side, we got a lot of the thematics. Some Raider Shades over scouting out. The front line is comprised entirely of some Shornal Marauders for that gold shield and that shield wall. It's going to be great. And complementing the anvil are the especially lightly dressed hammers. The Brides of Cain coming in here. You have some regular Dark Shards and some Sisters of Slaughter here. These guys are going to be crucial and really tying things down. And a couple Warriors of Shornal coming in with their beautiful Slaneshi shields. When we see mortals for Warhammer 3, I want them to look this good. Flying overhead for air superiority, of course, you have some Harpies and some regular old Dark Riders out here for some shock cavalry. Leading the army is a Supreme Sorceress of Beasts. She's packing Flock of Doom to try and counteract High Elf Archers, pairing some Penetrable Pelt for some good missile resistance for single entities, Curse of Aranhir to better control a mobility engagement if I brought Chariots, and Transformation of Kadan. And the centerpiece is a beautiful Bloodwrack Medusa Shrine. This thing is super accurate and super deadly. Let's get underway. So, to start off, the Duke is really going to want to secure this hill and then force an engagement with the Bloodwrack Shrine. It's going to be important that this thing can kind of win the artillery duel as it moves up, while I'm going to try and push it back with the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. It is going to look like I'll have to be aggressive for this one, but we both have reasonably aggressive armies. Now, despite what that little High Elf voice line may have said, they do not indeed lack firepower. And with a quick shot, you'll see a decent amount of damage. It doesn't seem like that much when it's only about 200, but when you realize that I don't have healing for this guy, you start to understand how problematic that is. So I start to move him back, looking to use this sort of shield as cover. Another shot by the Bloodwrack Shrine coming in, doing a bit of damage, sort of towards the archer line where it's blobbing up a bit here. And I'm going to start to move up the Eagle Claw, which will start shooting in right now. This thing is fairly accurate. Unfortunately, not as accurate as literally just looking at things, so the Bloodwrack Medusa can probably win this artillery fight, but not while Illyrian Reaver Archers are also going to get in on the carnage here. Couple of pot shots thrown in for good measure, starting to do a bit of damage. The Raider Shades are going to want to stay concealed for right now because they could get pin cushioned really easy with only that 30 armor. I'm really starting to move around, get some of my Illyrian Reavers and Silver Helms out on the flanks here. Duke's pushing up just a bit. He's taking a bit of damage with the Bloodrock Shrine, but he's mostly good. A couple stray arrows, almost hitting the Raider Shades, which could be problematic if they ever get discovered. And now, the actual archer line here. Lothern Seaguard, Hawkeyes, and Archers, and the Illyrian Reaver Archers is a real nasty one. Pan's Impenetrable Pelt is definitely going to help the survivability of this Bloodrock Shrine, but there are just so many missiles that I'm not sure even 30% missile resistance can cover it with that 80 armor, and you can start to see the health dropping. I shuffle around the warriors a little bit here and then start to spread them out. Duke starts to push up with the Dark Riders and the Harpies. I do not want to take a fight in the air with the Harpies. The Harpies are the anti-air unit. Some Raider Shades get revealed. Get a couple pot shots into them. And now we get the first cav engagement here. Illyrian Reaver Archers starting to pull back. Shielded Lothern Seaguard still being pretty good on the support. Front lines have clashed in here. White Lions running into Shornall Marauders. They'll win that fight pretty easily, but it's perhaps not the most efficient usage of that unit. Getting the Silverhelm Lancers into just the basic Dark Riders, and the Illyrian Reavers will win this fight here. So I gotta kind of get the Prince in. Harpies sense that the moment has struck, the cavalry is out, and are now moving forward. However, I have purposefully shifted where the Hawkeyes are and where the Archers are, so that way the Archers are further up. If Duke's gonna go for the Hawkeyes, he's gonna eat at least another volley. And you can see the pin cushion that's starting to get made of some of these Harpies. And he gets into the Archers, and this one goes for the Hawkeyes. Prince on a Dragon pops stand your ground for the nice bust in the cavalry fight, and starting to kill some of these Dark Riders. The front line, however, is not super good. The Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower should not be shooting into these guys right now. The Warriors starting to get pressured, and Warriors of Shornall and combined with Raider Shades. Being a bit problematic. Getting some Illyrian Reavers into these Dark Shards. Bowling them over quite a bit, and now flanking around with the cavalry. Silver Helms looking to charge into Raider Shades, and potentially the Sisters of Slaughter, if they can do some damage to them. Oof. That is pretty nasty over there. Harpies have all been driven off. The Raider Shades are still going to be a problem, and these Brides of Cain have slipped through the nets. Very good job by the Duke here. A bit of fire breath in from the Prince, and Illyrian Reavers getting into the Supreme Sorceress of Beasts. Duke, if he doesn't pop that transformation, is going to be in a pretty problematic spot here. Does an Overcast Curse of Aran here to give himself some space, but it looks like it might not be enough with Flock of Doom. Pretty problematic. So let's slow it down for a second and just evaluate the tactical spot, because Murderous Prowess just popped, which is really problematic for me. The front lines are still pretty even. I have a pretty good spot winning over here on this flank against the Sisters of Slaughter and Warriors of Shornall and so on and so forth. But these Shornall Marauders and Warriors are just going to keep on fighting. And with Murderous Prowess popped, they're going to start to hurt. My Archers are super compromised with these Brides of Cain. In between Pan's Impenetrable Pelt, just look at that stat line. 98 melee attack, 120 charge bonus with Murderous Mastery active. And all of Duke's Vigor just reset. So things are about to get a little bit hairy for our High Elf friends. So, getting back into it, a couple volleys in with the Harpies, and we see the transformation of Kadan popped perhaps a bit earlier than Duke would have liked. And the Bloodrock Shrine has been routed off, but it has distracted the dragon. These Silver Helms, maybe a bit of friendly fire in there with the Eagle Claw, and now looking to circle around, try and take out the Sisters of Slaughter and the Dark Shards. And the Manticore immediately getting in to our unfortunate little High Elves here. Gonna start to pepper it with arrows, but there's only so much I can do here. Prince now kind of cycling in and out here, but I have to get that Bloodrock Shrine off. If it rallies, it can start to do some serious damage. Over here, some Illyrian Reaver Archers, kind of recovering, and some Warriors in here. A lot of silver helms. This front line engagement is looking pretty good for the High Elves, and the back line engagement is looking pretty poor for the High Elves. So they've overall started to trade, and Murderous Prowess is starting to wear off. It isn't going to last for a whole lot longer. And the Vigor is starting to catch up to the Dark Elves, and that's going to be a very big deal. The Prince flies back just as the Medusa rallies. I probably could have gotten a good breath attack in here. But it might have been on cooldown. Coming in, oh, some beautiful attacks in here. While the Brides of Cain, just look at their rampage. They've managed to tie down and occupy so much of the cavalry. The Illyrian Reavers in there. Oh, absolutely beautiful carnage coming in here. And the Prince now rampaging. That is really bad. Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower finally compromised by the Feral Kadan Manticore. Prince gets out a rampage, starts to rally. Warriors have all but routed off the Shornall Marauders. Impressive by them. Dark Shards, those are going to be pretty problematic. The Prince has got to kind of get out of this situation where he's pinned in between two ranged units. Meanwhile, Focus Fire is just going to start pouring into the Kadan Manticore. And there's a handy-dandy little trick that you can really do where you can cycle in and out with the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower and start to manual fire. Right now, yep, gotta make sure that that Blood Rack Shrine does not recover. Main, I'll kind of slow it down again here because the tactical position has shifted drastically. The main job for the High Elves is just to keep everything here tied down and kill these Brides of Cain, because these Brides of Cain could pretty much win it at this stage. So I need kind of a breath attack, and the Dark Elves really gotta kill the dragon. Right now, the positioning and the armies slightly favor the Dark Elves, I'd say. Have a bit of a better position. The Manticore is now starting to eat Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower shots in here. Really kind of problematic. You can see as its health has already started to drop there. Prince on a dragon coming in briefly, killing a couple Shornall Marauders. And now there's going to be a big blob here. He's just got to get out. And then he's got to flame it. If he can get up. This could prove pretty poor for the Brides of Cain. Ooh. Yeah, that killed quite a few of them. Silverhelm Lancers now getting in. Ooh. Yeah. Not a good day to be a Bride of Cain. Not a good day to be the Kadan Manticore either. It's slowly getting chipped down here. And now that the Vigor has caught back up with Duke again, we could start getting worried. Prince is going to rest back to very tired as opposed to exhausted. And make sure that these Brides of Cain book it. Now that is a huge swing. That's like a full unit and a quarter of Brides of Cain routed off, which has swung this back pretty much into the even sphere, I'd say. This Kadan Manticore here, it's really not loving life. It can't get out of the engagement, it's completely bogged down, and it's getting manual aimed to death here. But the Shornall warriors could prove all the vital. They're perfect vigor, and they're just going to start butchering. Prince with a dragon straight into here, munching on some warriors of Shornall. Really important in here. You start to see sort of where it's shifted. At the moment, this is pretty much dead even. Duke does have more to win the Vigor fight. But man, that poor Manticore is just having a bad day of it right now. The Prince is exhausted, but he's popped all of his buffs. He's Gonna immediately run out. Does not want to let these crossbows get any more volleys in. If he's gonna manage to get in there. Yep. And I think that's probably the end of the Dark Shards. Godam Manticore threatens to get some pretty potent hits. It's not a bad anti-air unit at all. The Prince starting to get up and now flying towards the Feral Manticore here. Hawkeye's trying to shoot in. This could be a pretty close fight. Oop, gets a pretty nasty chunk of damage off on them. The Prince here is so far losing this fight. Oop, but that is about 700 damage in a hit. And yeah, Feral Manticore's not loving life at the moment. Prince takes another hit, but then kind of almost routes off the Manticore. Dark Shard's recovering. I'm gonna try like a little cheeky maneuver here where I can pivot and get his Dark Shards to try and shoot at the Godam Manticore, but it appears to be failing here. I've taken so much damage in this fight here, but if I could just kill the Manticore, I might have a chance. Now this is like very problematic. I just have the dragon, and these Warriors of Shornal do prove to be very problematic here. I'm gonna pivot around with the dragon. Gotta last fire breath into these Shornal Marauders. I make a valiant hurrah as I charge down. I could still clutch it. Maybe, if I can, a lot of this stuff is really low leadership. If I can kill the Godam Manticore, I could maybe cause a mass rout, popped all of the buffs, Deadly Onslaught, Blades of Belcanar, all the leadership for the Dark Elves is really, really low. But so is the Prince. What's he gonna do? I try and push through to just get to the Dark Shards, and then I think, nah, I gotta take the fight here, but the Prince runs. A really, really good showing on both sides there. That was a nasty fight. You can kind of see almost everything on both sides did its job. Those Brides of Cain and Sisters of Slaughter, so invaluable to Duke's overall strategy here. And a lot of the Slaanesh units came in super clutch. The Silver Helms and Silver Helm Lancers did really well. So did the Prince. The White Lions got a little bit caught out. You can sort of see so much damage in there. Even the Bloodwrack Shrine did get some pretty good value for how much I had to focus it down. The Harpies did a great job sort of running as running interference. Supreme Sorceress didn't do amazing, but she also kind of got gooned. Hawkeyes did pretty well. So did the High Elf Cavalry in general. High Elf Cavalry pretty much was MVP on my side, while the Brides of Cain, being the thing to kill the cavalry, was MVP on Duke's side. All in all, a really great battle, with very tactical and positioning flair. So, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all soon.